Hi students, so we are going to go over our light and sound mini project for science for Tuesday. So the first thing you're going to do before you start your mini project cutting and gluing is you're going to watch the two videos that are linked below. We have probably by now already watched it on Zoom, but if we haven't yet had our regular Zoom meeting or small group meeting, then you can go ahead and start, but that means you have to watch the two videos in the description box below. They are short videos about light and sound, but we will be talking about light and sound further this week. So you received a paper that looks like this. And what you want to do is cut out all of the images so that it ends up looking like this. So we're not paying attention just yet to what goes under them, but if you want to pause the video, this is how they should be cut and glued. Remember that you are gluing on the dotted lines, never cutting on the dotted lines, only cutting on the solid lines. And up here, remember, just glue and fold on the dotted lines so these two are not glued, just the middle. And for these, you also are just gluing where the dotted line is and leaving space under for the squares and the circles. So feel free to pause at any time. Now, after learning about light and sound and the way that they travel today, you're going to have to summarize just how light and sound travels. So by now, we have learned that light does not need matter to travel. So it does not need solid, liquid, or gas to travel, not even air. And the simplest way to put that, as discussed, but even more simply, is that it travels straight and does not need matter to travel. So you can put it in your own words, of course, but this is a basic meaning. Remember not to start this until we have discussed light and sound and you have watched the videos in the description box. Now, the simplest way to describe how sound travels is in waves through matter. And today we will be learning the difference between waves, particles, and what that means when it comes to light and sound. So for these words below, what actually you are doing is you are writing the meanings. So I want to just go over the meanings of these words that we heard today, just so we better understand them. So I made this little definition sheet for light and sound, and I numbered them 1 through 6 because we will have 6 definitions to go over. So you can pause this at any time because you will need these definitions to complete your mini project. So our first word is reflected. So we will have been listening to explanations on how light reflects. And the meaning of reflected, a basic meaning, is bounced back at an angle. So we're talking in the past tense because all of these words are in the past tense. So if light reflected, it bounced back and at an angle. And we will have seen a visual of what that looks like earlier. For number 2, we have absorbed, which means taken in or soaked up. Like by now we would have learned that the color black absorbs light instead of reflects it, like the color white would. Number 3, we have the word refracted, which is less commonly used, and it means changed direction when it enters at an angle. Then we're going to talk about sound. We have 3 words that describe different sound meanings. So here we have pitch, And that means a degree of highness or lowness of a tone. So we would have learned a little bit by now about pitch when it comes to singing especially. Then frequency. This is the rate at which something occurs. Decibels. This is the unit, so the way we measure. Unit used to measure the intensity of a sound. And we will be learning about what causes low decibels and what has high decibels, and how we have different examples of each to better understand. So you can pause at any time, but you will need these meanings to write them under our flaps. So here we have the light meanings, and under here are the definitions, and then the sound ones under these circles here. So I'm not going to open them and pause it here because we already have the definitions. So you're just going to make sure that you correctly write them nice and neat under, and color as you wish. Make sure that it is nice and neat and named.